Tonight you're going to bed with nothing under you but an entire planet. The space station has slipped into midnight mode. The lights are dim, and everyone else is zipped into their cocoons while Earth spins silently below. Come float through the sleeping modules, pores of the window to watch city lights drift past in the dark. Then climb into your own weightless pod and let the hum of the station rock you to sleep instead of your thoughts. Midnight on the station doesn't come with darkness, but with a change in tone. Overhead panels slide from bright white to softer gold. Corridors glow in muted strips, and busy screens dim their colors. The station seems to exhale, shifting from alert, buzzing day into a gentler, inward-looking night. A soft chime ripples through the modules. No one announces the hour out loud. Instead, a brief, familiar tone passes from speaker to speaker, like a quiet bell swinging once in each room. Status lights along the walls blink, then settle. Somewhere, a checklist is finally marked to Donny for today. You hover in your tiny crew quarters, not quite ready to sleep. The room is more like a padded cupboard than a bedroom. Walls close, surfaces covered in loops of fabric, little patches of Velcro, small nets and pockets. It's just big enough for your body, your things, and the sort of thoughts that only arrive when everything else stops. Your sleeping bag hangs against one wall like a cocoon. Straps cross it here and there, ready to hold you when up and down stop meaning anything. Around it float pieces of your temporary life, a pen clipped to a cord, a pair of socks anchored by a bungee, a folded tablet asleep in a corner, light blinking gently. A photo is taped beside your pillow spot. It holds still while everything else that isn't tied down drifts. In it, faces that aren't here smile at a gravity-bound camera. On the station, the picture has no weight, but it pulls at you in other ways. Soft, steady, never demanding, just there. You could close your eyes and let sleep come now. But there is something about station midnight that tugs at your curiosity. The idea of being awake when most systems are resting, of hearing the hum without conversation layered on top. You want a short walk through the quiet, a small tour of the sleeping ship. You push your feet into a pair of soft socks. There's no real floor to feel, but the routine matters. You tuck loose things into nets, brush fingertips over the photo once, then curl your hand around a nearby rail. With a gentle shove, you drift toward the hatch, leaving your little nest half-lit behind you. The corridor welcomes you with a low, even glow. Lights are set near the floor, or what you call the floor, casting long shadows up the walls and ceiling, which are now mostly the same thing. Handrails line every surface, silver ladders in all directions, ready for your fingers more than your feet. Moving here is more like swimming than walking. You hook your toes under one rail, give yourself a slow push, and glide forward, body straight, arms relaxed. When you near a junction, you extend a hand, catching the next bar with practiced ease, letting it draw you to a gentle stop instead of a sudden bump. Small windows punctuate the passage like portholes in a dream. Each one frames a tiny piece of forever, a handful of stars, a slice of the planet's curve, a long, thin line of atmosphere glowing faintly. For a moment, your reflection floats over the glass, then the universe beyond takes over again, deep and indifferent and strangely calming. You angle your drift toward the station's central hub. Modules branch off from it like spokes, each a labeled tunnel of cables, panels, and purpose. As you pass hatches, the labels slide by: a lab, or a storage, a airlock, or a node. Some display small red indicators, gentle reminders that people behind them are sleeping. The sounds are different here at night. During station day, fans and pumps share space with voices, tools, and laughter. Now, the mechanical noises are alone with you: the steady rush of air moving through ducts, the faint buzz of electronics, the occasional soft tick of metal adjusting to subtle changes in temperature. You reach the hatch that leads to the cupola, the station's small glass heart. Its round frame is familiar under your fingers, the handle marked by countless hands before yours. A small sign reminds you to move carefully, to respect the view and the instruments here, though at this hour nothing much is in use but the sky itself. You turn the handle and ease yourself inside. The cupola is barely bigger than a closet, but it feels like a cathedral. Windows curve around you in all directions, framing the planet below and the emptiness beyond. There's a bar near the floor for your feet, and a few small panels for controlling lights and cameras, dim now. You slide your feet under the bar and anchor yourself. In microgravity, you don't need the support to stand. You need it not to drift away. Once your toes are hooked, your body finds its own stillness. You lean forward slightly, as if leaning on the glass, though you never actually touch it. The planet fills most of the view. Tonight the station is passing over the dark side, so you see no continents or oceans, only a wide, deep curve of night spangled with scattered light. Cities glow like constellations scattered over land. Coastlines trace themselves in dotted necklaces of yellow and white. A thin line of atmosphere outlines the planet's edge. It burns in delicate shades of blue and green, like a ring of breath caught in light. Higher up, faint ribbons of aurora sway and curl, moving so slowly from your vantage point that they seem to be thinking, not dancing. You trace familiar shapes with your eyes. Islands you've only ever seen on maps suddenly lean up toward you, their outlines picked out in scattered lights. You guess at where a certain city's sleeping, where streets are emptying, where someone is just now turning off a bedside lamp, unaware that they're being quietly watched from orbit. The glass also reflects fragments of the station around you. A panel with sleeping screens, a handrail, the pale curve of your own face hovering in the window. Thin metal frames the vastness, a reminder that between you and vacuum there are only a few clever layers of human-made walls, seals, and faith. Inside this shell, air smells faintly of plastic and metal and people. Filters scrub it constantly, yet it still carries traces of days, a hint of coffee, laundry soap, someone's shampoo. It's a scent that doesn't exist anywhere else in the universe, the smell of many bodies sharing a small, carefully maintained bubble of survival. You listen to the station's quiet voice around you. A fan hums steadily somewhere above your head. A pump thumps at slow intervals, moving life support fluids through pipes behind bulkheads. Sometimes there's a tiny clack as the structure reacts to the hot side and cold side of the orbit, expanding and contracting like a sleeping chest. For a long moment, you simply breathe and look. You don't try to take pictures or send messages or memorize details. You just let your eyes wander over the darkness, over the thin blue edge, over that one bright cluster of city lights that could be a place you know or a place you never will. A tiny droplet of water floats past your shoulder. It probably escaped from someone's squeeze pouch earlier. It hangs in the air like a jewel, catching the low light from the instruments, wobbling slightly as currents of air push it along. For some reason, watching it drift feels almost as important as looking at the planet. Your own hair responds softly to the absent gravity. A few strands lift, drifting around your face like slow-motion seaweed. You tuck them behind an ear, but they float free again, unconcerned with the rules you grew up with. Up here, even your body doesn't entirely remember which way down is. A tablet is velcroed to the inner wall beside you. Its screen is dark now, today's tasks complete, tomorrow's experiments waiting in orderly lines of text. Next to it, a small checklist card flutters slightly in the air currents, its corners soft from being handled by many hands over many orbits. The tension you carried all day begins to leak away. Your shoulders, which have been unconsciously hunched even in weightlessness, drop a fraction. Your jaw loosens. The tight, precise thoughts about procedures and data and timing give way to simpler sensations. The warm strap under your feet, the cool window nearby, the rhythm of your own breath. Eventually, you decide it's time for something warm to drink. Not because you're cold, exactly, but because the idea of a hot, quiet ritual in the galley fits this artificial midnight. You slip your feet free from the bar, give yourself a gentle push, and drift back toward the hatch, taking one last slow look at the glowing limb of the world. The corridor outside greets you like an old friend. You catch a rail, turn yourself with a lazy twist, and head toward the module where the food stores are kept. Passing hatches, you see small green indicators showing that everything inside is normal, stable, unremarkable, exactly what you want on a night like this. The galley is a compact space but feels pleasantly roomy in 0G. Surfaces fold out and tuck away. Straps and clips keep everything where it should be. One panel glows quietly, showing inventory and temperatures. Most of the packets and containers are neatly stowed, labels drifting slightly as they tug gently against their restraints. You choose a pouch labeled simply a tea. Tearing it open, you attach it to the hot water outlet, watching as steam fogs the little clear window at the top. In microgravity, the liquid doesn't slosh. It just bulges and trembles inside the plastic like a tiny, patient planet warming its own interior. You slip a straw into the pouch and take a careful sip. The warmth spreads from your mouth outward, down your throat and into your chest. There's something both ordinary and miraculous about this. Hot tea in space, a quiet hallway, the planet turning below, and your tired hands braced lightly on a rail. Floating near the small galley table, you tuck a foot under a strap. The table doesn't need legs, only a place for you to anchor yourself to. You look at the scattered crumbs sealed under a transparent cover, the plastic forks velcroed in place, the small, folded napkin that refuses to drift because someone remembered to pin it down. Beyond the nearest hatch, the station continues in hushed layers. A lab module holds racks of instruments now idling or recording data without needing anyone's eyes. Another space shelters storage bags, tools, spare filters, all the items that keep this habitat quietly alive, sleeping in their own way between uses. You drift past one lab and glance through the window. Inside, under a band of gentle grow lights, a row of plants reaches out in slow-motion growth. Their leaves tremble faintly under the movement of air, as if they're breathing with the station. Roots are held in place by foam and mesh, soil replaced with carefully measured solutions. Tools float where they've been tethered. A wrench on a short cord spins lazily, turning end over end in the slowest possible cartwheel. A cable loops like a vine, secured in 3 places along a wall. Checklists are taped down, pens are on strings. Even at rest, nothing here ever truly stands still. The knowledge that everyone else is sleeping nearby feels comforting. Behind thin walls, your crewmates are zipped into their own cocoons, faces relaxed, dreams orbiting their private worlds. The station holds all of you gently in one hand, circling the planet again and again while you each let go of your own day's gravity. On your way back, you pause at another small window. This one doesn't belong to the cupola. It's just a standard viewport in the corridor, more rectangle than dome. Still, the view is vast. The station is now cresting into dawn over the planet below, the night side glow shifting into something brighter at the edge. You watch as the thin line of atmosphere changes color. Black gives way to deep blue, then paler shades spread outward as the sun peeks from behind the curve. Clouds, which were invisible silhouettes a few minutes ago, begin to bloom in white and soft grey, textured and folded like slow-motion waves. The transition from night to day happens quickly from up here. On the ground, dawn creeps. In orbit, it rushes. One moment you're floating over sleeping cities, the next, you're above glittering oceans reflecting a burst of sunlight straight into your eyes. You squint reflexively, then adjust the angle of your body so the glare glances off the glass instead. Watching this, you feel a quiet contrast inside. Below, light is racing across rooftops and roads, nudging alarms and coffee makers into action. Up here, everything is moving just as fast, but your heart doesn't have to. You can let the world spin underneath without chasing it, just this once. You think of how many sunrises the station sees in a single day. More than you can comfortably hold in memory. Each orbit is another loop of night and day, another stripe of planets sliding under this same metal shell. Counting them doesn't make them more real. You only need to know that they keep happening, whether you watch or not. The thought loosens something in you. If the world can manage to turn without your constant attention, maybe you can let go for a few hours too. Not everything needs to be held together by your hands, your lists, your worries. Some of it can simply happen, recorded by instruments and witnessed by no one. Decision made, you turn back toward your quarters. The corridor feels even more familiar now, handrails and hatches greeting your touch like old friends. You know exactly how much push you need to coast to the next node, exactly when to reach out and catch yourself, exactly how to twist your body to float through a tight turn without bumping an elbow. Labels and stickers slide past as you drift. Tiny mission patches from past crews, a cartoon drawing beside a hatch, a handwritten note reminding people to close a certain valve. Humor and care live side by side here, embedded in the very walls, making this collection of metal and plastic feel like a lived-in home. Your pod glows from within like a small lantern. You left the little reading light on, and its warm circle spills out into the corridor, distinct from the station's cooler nighttime hue. As you approach, you feel something in your chest respond the way it does when a familiar doorway comes into view after a long walk. You slip inside and pull yourself carefully until your body is fully in. The tight space doesn't feel confining. It feels defined, like the outline of a nest just the right size. You pull the hatch or curtain partway closed, enough to soften the corridor sounds, but not so much that you feel sealed off from the rest of the station. Your sleeping bag waits, slightly puffed from the air trapped inside. You unzip it, slide yourself in, and pull it up around your shoulders. The fabric is smooth and pleasantly warm, holding residual warmth from previous nights. You secure the straps lightly across your chest and hips, not pressing, just enough to give your body a sense of direction. In weightlessness, your limbs float unless something tells them not to. The straps and the bag do that gently, reminding your muscles that they can let go. Your arms settle at your sides, your legs stop drifting toward the walls. Your spine stretches out in a way it rarely does under gravity, elongating without effort. The air filter hums softly near your head. You've heard this sound so often that you almost never notice it, but now, in the quiet, it becomes a kind of white noise. It's the sound of air being cleaned, oxygen being circulated, carbon dioxide being moved away from your lungs, lullaby as life support. You adjust your position until up air and a down a blur. Maybe your head is toward the hatch tonight, or maybe you turn the other way around. It doesn't matter. With your eyes closed, you could just as easily be hanging sideways, angled diagonally, or floating upright. The station doesn't mind. It holds you all the same. You dim your little reading light until it's barely there. Shadows fill the tiny corners of your pod, rounding them, smoothing out corners and edges. The photo on the wall is still visible as a pale rectangle with softer shapes inside. The rest of your things, pouch, notes, small objects, fade into darkness. For a moment you simply listen to the overlapping sounds. The distant thrum of pumps several modules away. The closer huff of air through nearby vents. The faint creak as someone, far down the corridor, shifts in their own bag. The almost imperceptible vibration of the station's structure as it pushes through the thin remains of atmosphere. Your own breathing joins that network of noise. Inhale, and the fabric of the bag moves a little against your chest. Exhale, and a small cloud of warmth touches your cheeks before being swept away by the circulation system. Each breath is a tiny, personal orbit. In, around, out, repeated until you stop counting. Images from the evening begin to drift back through your mind. The city lights on the night side of the planet. The trembling glow of aurora. The way the frozen rivers and clouds looked in dawn light. The floating droplet in the cupola, catching the lamp and the world beyond in its tiny curved surface. They don't arrive as sharp photographs, but as softened fragments. Like reflections in moving water, they distort and blur, breaking into pieces and recombining. A city's glow becomes the shine on a tea pouch. The curve of the planet's limb folds into the curve of your sleeping bag. Everything overlaps until categories no longer matter. You feel your thoughts begin to thin out. Concerns about tomorrow's tasks, about data and systems, about messages waiting when you reconnect, they all step back, as if the station itself has gently requested that they observe quiet hours as well. They don't vanish, they just stop banging on your attention. Underneath them is a simpler awareness. You are here, in a small padded box attached to a larger metal shell, attached to a network of beams and modules, all circling a spinning planet wrapped in a thin skin of air. You are one more fragile piece among many, and somehow, that feels more comforting than frightening. The station continues its orbit without asking your permission. It sweeps over ocean and land, over sleeping cities and lit highways, over storms swirling silently in the dark. Every 90 minutes or so, it sees a sunrise and a sunset, a constant alternation of light and shadow that you don't need to keep up with right now. You let your eyelids lower fully, and this time they stay. Behind them, the afterimage of the planet's curve lingers for a moment, a pale arc against black. Then that too fades, replaced by the soft pattern of your own inner darkness. Flashes of color, vague shapes, half-begun dreams drifting in and out. Somewhere in the station, a small relay clicks. A system switches to backup, or a heater adjusts its cycle. The sound is so quiet that you might have imagined it. It marks nothing dramatic, just the machinery doing what it always does, adjusting, maintaining, keeping conditions as close to perfect as it can. The world below turns, unseen, under clouds and clear patches. Lights brighten and dim, weather shifts, people wake and sleep and speak and fall silent. None of them know that, for these few hours, you've stepped off that spinning stage, choosing instead to float above it, cradled by aluminum and intention. Inside your pod, your body finally believes that it's allowed to rest. Your muscles stop waiting for the next command, the next reach for a handrail, the next brace against movement. Your fingers uncurl completely, your jaw slackens just enough. The straps across you become less like restraints and more like a gentle, steady hand. The station's hum and your breathing merge into one ongoing sound. It doesn't really begin or end, it simply fills the space, a continuous thread of life running through pipes and lungs and wires. You ride on that thread like a small bead, held in place by everything that surrounds you and everything that led you here. Sleep comes not as a sudden drop, but as a slow reclassification. The same sensations, bag, hum, faint pressure at your shoulders, shift from being things you actively notice to things your mind files under a background. Thoughts shrink until they are just fragments of images, then just traces of feelings, then not even that. While you sleep, the space station keeps its silent orbit. It crosses midnight again and again over the planet below, its windows parsing in and out of sunlight, its panels adjusting, its shadows changing shape. Inside, air moves, water flows, circuits carry their tiny streams of information. Everything continues. And you, for this small piece of the cosmic schedule, are allowed to do nothing but rest. No calls, no decisions, no gravity, and no rushing. Just the gentle hold of fabric and straps, the steady hum of machinery, and a vast, starlit dark outside that asks for nothing at all but your closed eyes and your steady breath.